Let me double check our connections over here. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to connect again because we wanted to make sure that everything is super smooth over here. Yes, okay, I see that. Oh, I know the reason. Okay, I'm going to do this way. Okay, I see that our speaker's image is showing over here on our Binocide platform. And Jian, everyone, welcome to our Real Moonlight show over here. And today we are having a mix session with Metavisio. The speaker joining us is from the team. And I don't have the job title, I just have your name, Alexander. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself and your project with us? Thank you. And what is your role at the Metavisio project team? Thank you so much.
Of course. Hello, everybody who's joined as well. An absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Moonlight. Always an absolute pleasure. So my name is Alexander Rees-Evans, and I'm the head of Web3 Transition for Metavisio, Thomson Computing. Those of you who may not know this, Thomson, the actual brand itself, has been around for about 130 years in major electronics very, very early on. So the very old radios that you can see in some old films, most likely Thomson helped build those. That's a very old, prestigious legacy brand. And Thomson Computing is a segment of that with Metavisio. And what we're doing today, just to give you guys a bit of the scope of what we encapsulate, we've sold over 3 million laptops in over 52 countries. This is what we do. So we sell hardware, laptops, and tablets, and accessories. And we're the only major one who does this out of Europe. There are about 5 or 6 big brands all together around the globe, and half are in the USA, and the remainder are in China. We'll give or take 1 or 2. We're the only one central in Europe. So what we're doing today, in a nutshell, is we're going to create the world's first ever Web3 laptop. This is what we're doing, right?
Yes, wow, that is very great. Thank you so much. Head the Web3 transition. Listen to the title is amazing. Knowing that the team is definitely working really hard from Web 2 and then to Web 3, right? Thank you so much, Alexander, for the introduction. And do you mind to give us an overview of Metavisio for our audience? Because I believe a lot of them actually might be the first time heard of the project, right? So if you could give us some brief introduction, that would be awesome. And feel free to share your screen if you wanted to. Thank you.
Of course. So as I was saying, Thomson Computing, I mean, Metavisio, it's been around for about a very long time, give or take 130 years. So what we're bringing to the space is the world's first ever Web3 laptop. And I can actually show you guys some alpha. I'll show my screen shortly. To give you a bit more depth, we've been doing this for a very long time. And on top of that, we were recently in Riyadh, part of the French presidential delegation. We're going to be creating the world's first ever assembly line over there as well for PC productions, etc. And the big difference here on the actual project, what are we doing? Are the tokens involved, NFTs? Yes and yes. In short, I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of these big data centers where everybody's trying to build these big, bulky segments of infrastructure in order to create more power, processing power, for what's going on the internet and everything requires a bit of data. Now, like we said, those are big, bulky infrastructures. And venture capitalists are all over them. What we imagined was, what if every single laptop around the world that's simply turned on, but you're not using, what if you could rent out that GPU power? Imagine that consortium of laptops worldwide where, with a little bit of software, a bit of a hardware update as well, you would be able to create one of the largest data pools in the world that you could simply rent out, and the people who do rent out this GPU power, they may be rewarded with the Thomson token, and for those who wish to actually rent the power, they got to purchase it, that rent, with the token Thomson. There's also going to be a very cool NFT mint coming up soon, around the 6th of February, just before NFT Paris. We're probably going to be doing something over there as well, but I'll leave that for next time. And without further ado, guys and girls, I'll share my screen and show you something. Well, it's the world's first. It's that simple. I know we hear a lot of it in crypto, but this is the world's first ever Web3 PC.
Wow, the world's first ever Web3 PC. That
Yes.
is super.
So can you guys see my screen first of all?
Yes, very clear.
Fantastic. So if you have a look here, we're going to have two types to kick everything off, okay? But first of all, the very important thing here is it's got two screens, a lot like the Z Flip, the phone from Samsung. This has the same. So a lot of people in crypto, you travel, we need big screens. We've got 3, 4 screens sometimes for traders, but that doesn't exist for laptops. So whenever a trader travels or someone who works in crypto or someone who's just fond of the industry and needs a good computer and a couple of screens, they can actually do it with this. And the even better thing is it doesn't have to be just folded out this way. It can also fold backwards as well. So if we're sitting across the table, Moonlight, I could simply fold that screen backwards. Whilst I'm typing, you would be able to see exactly what's on that screen on your side. It would be projecting it on both screens. It's the world's first ever. And on top of that, this is where it gets really, really cool. So power-wise, I'll zoom in a little bit for those who want to as well. If you have a look here, this is where it gets quite interesting. If we have a look at RAM, we're going to be talking about up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, which is big. It's very, very big. Also, it's going to have fingerprint unlocks as well, and it's going to have satellite connection. This is one of the new things as well. It's going to have satellite connection. Now look here, which is Web3 as well. And the very cool thing is that we've actually struck a partnership with Peoples, which is one of the largest industrial companies in China. And they've got more satellites in space than Starlink, if I'm not mistaken. Noting that we're also going to have a few chats with Starlink. So this has got an embedded satellite in the laptop. Wherever you are in the world, be it remote or in a hotel where you don't speak the language and can't get the Wi-Fi password, God knows that happens. All you have to do is simply hook up, done. It's integrated. You could be in the middle of the Sahara Desert, you would have one of the best connections in the world. So not only does this make it very interesting for people who want to travel, who work remote all over the world, but also those who just aren't that lucky as well to have the luxury of having stable connections all over. If you're a trader and you're in the middle of a very remote Africa somewhere, then you need internet connection. And if you don't have that stable, steady connection, all of a sudden it's a big problem. It's not an even playing field. Here it is. You're going to have one of the fastest internet connections in the world, double screen, 64 gigabytes, and you've got the possibility to rent out the GPU power as well. Furthermore, we're going to have a completely brand new, unique OS system. This OS system will enable to onboard dApps of more or less any blockchain. So all of a sudden, the computer itself isn't just Web3 compatible, it's actually crypto friendly because you can easily and seamlessly use everything from this ecosystem to know it's really crypto. The UI, the UX, everything has been super simplified. And the CEO, the owner of Thomson Computing, he's actually in Las Vegas at the CIS as we speak, presenting this as we speak. We've just struck a partnership as well, which is quite cool, with Logos Protocol, which is one of the best AI agents in the world as of today. They're over there as well with a huge 18-foot screen presenting these robots and these crazy, crazy segments of AI. And we just integrated that in our Discord, which is pretty cool. But getting back into it, Moonlight, this is the first Web3 laptop. And this one as well, so the Pulse 16, the one before was the Pulse 14. Pulse 16, the difference here is it doesn't have the flip screen, but on top of that, what it does have is it's got a very long battery life as well. And it's much more accessible. The big difference with Thomson Computing by Metavisio and all the competitors, be them Lenovo, Apple, Acer, anything, is that all of these big brands, what they do, whenever the actual software, brand new software comes out, it's ready, it's just come out, it works. They don't integrate it straight away. They maybe wait 2, 3, 4 years to integrate it into the laptop further on down the line. The difference with us is that as soon as the software is ready, we integrate it and we push it out. So we're almost always a step ahead of the curve from the competitors. And on top of that, the quality is, I would argue, even higher from the hardware and software perspective. And on top of that, we're very competitive with pricing as well.
Mhm.
So this is where even the ranges, to give you guys ideas, it's going to range from about $499 all the way up to about $2,000. But there's something in there for everyone. And even people who want to study, for example, because we've got other ranges that we've got programmed as well, there's going to be a 27-hour battery in one of these laptops too. This is what's incredible.
Nice. So, well, of course, our audience, they have questions. Why do people need Web3 laptop? What's the benefit for it, and where can people buy it? Is it like very convenient, accessible to purchase it anywhere in the world? If we just go to a um PC store, or do we have to like place special order on your website?
Well, two very good questions. And I'll start with the first one and move into the second. So why do we need this? First of all, the laptop industry, like I said, there are about 5 or 6 big players worldwide. We're one of them. They're both exposed very, very heavily from a geopolitical perspective. Either everything's created in the US or everything's created in China. That's simple.
Mm-hmm.
With everything going on today in today's climate, that's a huge geopolitical risk. First of all these wars going on, God knows what's going to happen. First of all, the second component is when you buy a laptop, you spend, even on Apple, for example, you spend X amount of money, but you don't get the best software. You don't get the recent, almost updated software. It's already been released. They're just keeping it until they need to push something new out, because their goal is to sell as many products as possible, not to sell the best quality products as possible. And the third point here as well, it's that everybody who works in this industry, when you're logging into God knows what, your wallets, etc., this one's something I didn't mention. There's even going to be a cold wallet storage, and the ones we're going to be releasing shortly as well. So you will have an integrated cold wallet in these laptops too, that can also be removed from the laptop too. So for those of us who are actually in crypto, and I assume that's the majority of people listening to this, you could be at home, and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, where's my ledger? Or I need to buy ledger. And ledgers, they've got many defaults as well. We're using a new MPC system for this also, we can go into later on if you need. But the big difference here, it's got the same minimum requirements of security levels as a ledger, basically. But on top of that, it can also be integrated with your mobile phone, with somebody else's, all these different things if you need it, because we're also going to have an integrated form of, let's call it an access, which we're going to call Thompson ID, which is going to be rolled out just later. And this is going to be a very clever hub where anybody can log in and they can simply access the entire world of Web3. They don't need to remember a seed phrase, all these different things. It's super duper simple. And for the hardcore ones of us who want to, there's a cold wallet as well. Everything is made easy. And the biggest challenge that Web3 has is trying to meld together the normal realm, Web 2, with what we're doing in this industry, which is Web 3. And it's always this big mishmash. Even exchanges, the goal is always to get the most users, the most onboarded users that aren't yet in the industry, that haven't yet been logged on. And this is what we believe the easiest way to do this for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they have no clue about crypto. They don't want to. What they're worried about and what they're thinking about is, well, it's going to be their daughter's birthday. They'd like to maybe change a laptop. Well, they could have one of these. They could be renting out their GPU power when it's switched on, but they're not using it anyway. Mm-hmm. And with these redeemable Thomson tokens, what they can do, they can even go into the Thomson Computing store and get very big discounts on real hardware from the store, real accessories from the store. So it's got a real world use case. A lot of people speak about RWAs. RWAs, at the end of the day, it's fractionalized real estate with crowdfunding. You don't need a token to make it happen. You can have one to make it more liquid, but you don't need it to make it happen. There's nothing special about it. Here, what's special is the fact that somebody who doesn't have a clue about crypto, who doesn't want to have a clue about crypto, can engage without even knowing it with someone who's a heavy degen, who would need more power for a gaming tournament they're about to go in, who just needs a bit more power because they're doing some heavy trades, different things like that. They would be indirectly engaging together on other sides of the world without even knowing it, using crypto. That's the beauty of it. It's going to be the best way to onboard more users into this industry as well, We've seen it with the Solana phone, Jimbo as well, different things like that. But at the end of the day, it was just people from this industry who get a lot of airdrops from that Solana phone. It's very cool, but was it groundbreaking? I would argue no, because it didn't really change anything. This does. We're granting the possibility of anyone in the world, wherever they live, to actually have a really powerful internet connection, one of the best displays in the world with the 2 screens, one of the most powerful RAMs in the world, and to engage in the crypto ecosystem without even knowing you're doing it and without needing to know you're doing it, to answer your question.
Got it. Thank you so much. And also thank you for the audience who asked questions. Right now we have live audience over 900 people. So thank you everyone for joining us, and feel free to post your questions in the comments. And I'm going to continue to also follow up, because we would like to know that do you have any upcoming plans for this year? Because as it's obvious that we could see 2025 is definitely bull cycle, right? But some people also concerned that, oh, is the bull cycle kind of going to end in Q1, quarter one, right? So do you have any plan for this cycle and to catch the moment?
We have a plan and we have other plans as well. At the end of the day, you can never really time the market. From a personal perspective, what I've seen is that the bull run's already started. The retail community are already purchasing. It's just that the majority of liquidity is in meme coins. If you look on Pump Fund, it's like every second, it's like bam, 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 bam. It's rolling out all the time. Right. So the retail community is here, but it hasn't yet trickled down to the altcoin segment. So hopefully that will happen in the upcoming month, especially after Trump's election. We'll see which direction the states take. If all of a sudden they open the floodgates, it could be a whole new era. Maybe the bull run will last another 2 years. I mean, God knows. But what I would imagine, and being very, very pragmatic, is that it will probably last till maybe July-ish. It's more or less a year, if you think about it, which is very reasonable for a bull run, even if there's been a lot more noise. This is a difference as well since 2021, the bull run around that era. There wasn't as much choice, there wasn't as many segments, I would argue, as there is today. The market's so heavily diluted with so many different segments as well that each segment takes their own kind of audience. And that's a bit of a, I would say, an interesting factor to take into consideration. So what we're doing, we're going to actually, part of our go-to-market plan here is that we're working with a group called CodeCraft, pretty good. That encapsulates Divas and Phono Labs. Some of you may know them here. They took to market like Lamborghini for NFT mint, a few of the big guys. So we're actually doing an NFT mint around the 6th of February. That's going to come out quite shortly. We're doing a lot of active engagements with a few very big Discord communities as well. Everything is growing quite rapidly. And what we're going to do, first of all, the NFTs are going to grant some very cool perks, of course. And then we're aiming to list the actual token probably end of February, maybe March. We'll see exactly what's going to happen with the market, but around that time. So definitely Q1, end of Q1, 2025.
Got it. Okay, yes. Also, things like all of the projects are trying to just catch the moment, right? Q1 and do a lot of things, super busy. And of course, we would like to know about, so far, how's everything going while you are building the Web3 community at Metavisio? What's the community size and what are your target users or target buyers?
No, of course. And this is what everything actually in Web3 is going, interestingly, very well. We've got a lot of interest from blockchains. So for example, Hedera, Sui, we've just signed a little partnership with Ultra as well. We're going to start, I would say, engaging with many more now that I would say Christmas is over, New Year's over, we can finally get back to work. But yeah, so Ultra, the blockchain, they're going to really, well, from what they've said, they're going to really pick things up this year. So they're going to be integrated into the DApp as well on the OS system. Then we're going to have probably a big partnership with Hedera. We're actively in conversations with them for that, and also Sui Hub precisely. And this is where I have in mind, in our view, it's to onboard as many blockchains as possible, because our goal really is to be that bridge from Web 2 into Web 3. And it's one of the most convenient ways how to do it. Everybody's got at least a computer or laptop at home. and they get changed relatively often. Even my one's got keys falling off it. So the interesting thing here is it's all about timing as well as you mentioned. So what's important here is timing. What have we been doing in the back end? So we were part of the French presidential delegation in Riyadh, and we went to the investment summit. We struck a very large partnership with one of the largest consulting firms in Saudi Arabia. We also had a nice meeting with Dr. Marwan from the Dubai Blockchain Center in Dubai. So I'm going to go back up there in a few days, actually, back to Dubai to discuss these things. And why are we targeting blockchains and I would say these institutions? Purely because that way dApps will follow. If we can encapsulate and get a few blockchains on board, and they're actually reaching out to us now, which is quite interesting, then everything else will follow. That's where the users will come from. Everything else will come from as well. And for the Web2 side of things, like I said, we're going to be creating the world's first ever assembly line. That's the plan. In the Middle East, we had the blessing of the Crown Prince over there, President Macron as well, when we met in person. So we're going to be opening up to the entire Middle East, also Africa and India. We're going to be placing these products on that's the equivalent of Amazon, but in India in 2025. So the whole market for this is going to explode, which means more people will have them, which means more people will be implied to actually use them. And again, if you think about just that little simple component where you can rent out your GPU power, I'll ask you a question, Moonlight. When's the last time you left your computer turned on for more than 20 minutes and didn't use it?
Left it turned on for 20 minutes and didn't use it.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite often because my computer is like on 24/7.
Exactly. Same here. Now imagine you don't use it 24/7, but it's on 24/7. I honestly can't remember the last time I turned off my laptop properly. I just close it and put it back on, but it's always on. So imagine if that time that you're not using it, you simply flick a button, and all of a sudden you're getting rewarded with the Thompson tokens.
Oh, that's really nice. So it's kind of like mining, right? Mining tokens if we just turn the computer on.
Same result for yourself, but very all you're doing is renting out some of that power you've got on your computer, and somebody's paying you in the Thompson tokens. And there's all going to be MiCA compliant in the EU. So what will happen as well is these tokens, in essence, that they won't be on chain at first, so you'll be rewarded in them. Then if you've already got your KYC AML done, then boom, you just transfer it. It's instant. But for mum and dad who don't have a clue and don't want to pass AML KYC, they've got them. They can just use them straight away in the Thompson Computing store. So even yourself, Moonlight, you could either swap them once you pass your AML KYC. You could just swap them and then actively liquidate them in the entire crypto ecosystem to generate money. Or you could simply use them in the Thompson Computing store, and you would get discounts on real hardware.
Very interesting. Thank you so much, Alexander, for letting us know about that. And how about for people who don't have the budget to buy the computer? What are the ways that they could participate into the Metavisio ecosystem? Thank you.
Of course. And that's where we're really trying to take everybody into consideration. So the budget range for these types of Web3 laptops will be anywhere from $499 all the way up to $2,000. What we could also do even internally is maybe have a think of integrating a payment system where you can pay multiple times as well. But we really are, even if you think about a laptop for $499, there aren't a lot out there today. There aren't a lot out there for a laptop, especially a very high performing one. So we're more or less the cheapest in the entire market when this will come out, and it will be the best quality that you could imagine. So there's something there for absolutely everybody. That's the main thing. And for those who don't need the laptop or don't want the laptop or they just want to engage with the ecosystem, now again, this is where we're going to have a token also. So that could be one way to engage in it, and the buying pressure to give you a bit of an idea just on how this whole ecosystem will work, because you always need more buying pressure than selling pressure. Simple. That's how simple it is. And the more of buying pressure you have, then the more the token will increase in value. So what we're doing is every single time that somebody is renting this GPU power, and we're even speaking with some big institutions, So it doesn't have to be one person who needs a bit of power for their the game that they're about to go on. It could be an institution that needs the power of 5,000 laptops. So we can discuss these things as well. This is what we're putting in place now also. And the main thing is that the goal is that as well, when they buy these tokens, it's buying pressure. That's simple. But the people renting out that power, they're not necessarily in the crypto space. They don't necessarily want to liquidate the tokens. They may be more interested in getting a discount on a really cool piece of hardware in the Thomson Computing store. So what will happen is there's going to be tremendous buying pressure. And instead of those tokens reintegrating the ecosystem or creating something silly and useless like a burn, in short, they get put and they get used in the store. They exit the ecosystem. And then that's a whole new liquidity pool that we have for later on for the longevity of the entire ecosystem. Like I said, we've sold over 3 million laptops already. And now we're really going to scale. You can only imagine the amount of tokens that would be necessary as well to actually create longevity. Because if we even double that, that's 6 million laptops. If everybody has a few hundred tokens each, it looks like a meme coin at the end of the day with the number of tokens you have. So we didn't want to go down that route. We've done something very simple, very straightforward. And the goal is really to provide the best possible access to anybody who's interested either on the token side of things, the NFT side of things as well, of course. And this is where we're going to have a big supply. The mint will come out on the 6th of January, if I'm not mistaken. And on top of that, there are going to be very cool perks. And a lot of people are now rating for guaranteed whitelist spots. So we're putting a lot of things in place. And we're aiming to list around end of February. That would be fantastic. If it's a little bit later, it doesn't really matter. The goal is to make sure everything goes well, not just for us, but for the retail community also.
Got it. Thank you so much, Alexander, for spending time with us. And before we wrap up the session, do you have any additional information that you wanted to share with us?
Of course, of course. What I would encourage as well is that we're really building up the foundations now. So even on Twitter, we had 0. We started a couple of weeks ago. It's just shy of 20,000 now. So things are going really fast. Mm-hmm. Discord as well. Everything's picking up. Everything's going in the right direction. And it's only going to get bigger and better. So what I would encourage is anybody who's simply a bit curious, like I said, this is the world's first ever Web3 laptop by a legacy company. The brand name has got 130 years behind it. This is something revolutionary. Even Solana, when they released that phone, how long has Solana been around for? Not 130 years. So just imagine the impact on this, noting we've already sold millions of these laptops. When this thing comes out, the goal is to make it not only global, but also to make it big for the Web3 industry and to really be that bridge. So I would just encourage anybody who's a bit curious, feel free to join our socials, get engaged in the Discord. We've got the AI agent in there as well. I think we call him Bob. It's quite cool. He's quite funny. He's got the character of Jim Carrey, the actor. So it's quite cool. Everything's going really well. Just feel free to follow us, stay in touch, and really, really, really thankful, Moonlight, for the opportunity here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we end the session, I would like to share my screen as well because I see that we are being featured on the front page of Binance Live. So everyone, thank you all for joining the session. And right now we have, wow, we got 1,200 live views. Thank you, Alexander, for spending time with us. I'm going to screenshot Lee's Binance Live front page for you as a keepsake. And let's keep in touch.
Thank you very much, Moonlight. An absolute pleasure. And yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be very, very big, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close our backstage and let's keep in touch. Bye. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Moonlight. Bye.
Bye.